Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. And today I'm gonna be doing a how-to tutorial. This tutorial will focus on how to make a custom Lego Star Wars Senate Commando. As you see, I have 8 figures right here, 2 captains and 8 troopers. I bought quite a few of these sets, so yeah, these are the figures that came in the 4 packs. So I've got a couple requests on how do you make this, how do you make that, and last week someone asked me to make a tutorial on how to paint a Senate Commando. Now I will not have you wait here like for the entire process, because painting each of these Senate Commandos like I did back in January or in March, I think it was, when I released my second showcase like this. If you haven't seen them, feel free to check out my channel. I made 8 figures like these, 8 Senate Commando custom figures. So if you want to check those out, if you haven't, please do. So today I'm gonna be painting one of these, and I will also say a few tips that I use. I'm gonna show you the tools that I usually use on most of my figures. Doesn't mean that you need to use them on these figures, but this is like very simple tutorial. This will not focus on scratch figures such as this figure. This is a more complicated figure because the entire figure is made out of scratch. I was working on this figure just before I started recording. Anyways, a tutorial or tips on how to make scratch figures such as my Captain America figure, for example, will come later in the future, maybe. I do not promise anything. But anyways, without further ado, I will put all these figures into a base plate, which I have here. So I'm gonna line them up, and possibly I think I'm gonna work on a blank one, like a normal one, so I will leave one out. I usually put my figures on a base plate, that way I don't lose them. Like for example, I have 8 figures that I want to make, so I want to put them in a base plate. That's tip number 1. But I mean, it's basic. It's up to you, basically. So I'm going to be painting that figure, and the way this is going to work, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to paint on him, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to use to paint it with. But I'm going to cut the video, and once I'm done painting something on the figure, I will show you the final product. But like for example, I'll paint the helmet first, and then I'll paint the legs, and the torso, maybe then the arms. But I will be with you throughout the entire process. So without further ado, here I'm gonna bring in the tools that I usually use, so we can put this back together. So number 1, very important, when you're painting a figure, you must have a base plate, because it's very easy to knock your figures, and if they're still drying up, that would be a pain to like either try and put more paint on, and then it won't look as good because it's not so smooth. So a base plate, this is a minifigure 3x4 base plate. It's very used up, as you see here. Usually I have like 3 laying around. This time I only have 2 because I'm using one on another figure, because I've been working on a lot of figures lately. But for this video I'm going to be using 2. Now you'll be wondering what this is. This I usually use for heads and helmets. I put them on here, and that way if I have a helmet drying up, I don't mess with the helmet accidentally, like my hands like possibly touching the helmet and then scratching off the paint that is drying up. That way I have the figure, and I have the torso, legs, arms, head to work with. so we can have the helmet drawing up over here and the figure to work with. Now another thing that would be useful is a staff like this. A staff, or whatever you want to call it, can be used to paint arms, or to like put them on here, and maybe you can put them to dry. That way, as I said, with the helmet, you don't mess with the helmet while it's drying up, and you have the figure, the rest of the figure, to work with. So those are tips that could help you a lot if you're working on figures. So I will leave this like this. It's a good idea to do so, because that way you don't like accidentally paint something else in the figure that you don't want to paint. That way you have like the arms, the hands, the helmet with nothing in your way. Anyways, other tools that I sometimes use are these tweezers. I usually leave the protection on, but these usually help me to hold fabric and plastic. I use a lot of plastic. This is a plastic that I use. It's transparent. I usually get this from, I don't know, food containers. As you see, I folded it here so that it can be easy to store. But I usually use my tweezers to hold the plastic, the tiny plastic pieces that I sometimes use. For example, I'll bring in my Mandalorian back in. These armor pieces, I use these tweezers to hold these and put super glue on the arm, and then put the armor piece on there, and then paint the armor piece. They're pretty sturdy. I mean, they sometimes stick because whatever it's holding, sometimes the fabric, it has paint on it, so I mean, it's normal. You can usually take it off and sand it down or whatever, but I usually keep it with my protection on so that I don't poke stuff. But for this tutorial, we are not going to be using this, but I thought I would just show you something that I use. And paints, a lot of people have asked me. If you keep asking, I will simply link you to this video. So number one would be Apple Barrel. Apple Barrel is cheap. It's about $1 at any craft store. So I use Apple Barrel number one. And also, in case you were wondering, bright blue is the exact same tone as this Lego blue, and that's a good thing to know. I mean, if you want to paint something the same color as the Lego blue, then bright blue. In case you want the number, it's 20225. So you can find that color, and it'll be the same tone as the Lego blue, but it will not shine. Like, this paint is opaque. So other brands that you can use would be Folk Art. I usually use Folk Art. I'm gonna put these over here. Folk Art I usually use for metallic colors. As you see here, I have dark gunmetal, and then I have silver, and then gold. I usually use the ones that have like a little diamond on top. Yeah, they all have like a little diamond. So in case you're wondering, other brands would be like Serum Color. I don't have any right here. I bought a couple of Craft Smart. It's fine. Just because there was no Apple Barrel for white, but this is the white that I have right now. So the colors that I'm going to be using today would possibly be gold, and yeah, possibly those three. Maybe some silver. Who knows? I mean, when I make Senate Commandos, I usually don't plan anything, so anything could happen. Anyways, last but not least, what do I paint with? what do I paint with? Well, there is no secret gimmick to this. I simply use a toothpick. That is it. I use the sharper end, or if you have a dull toothpick, just use scissors or something to sharpen the tip of the toothpick. You can use that. I use it as a toothbrush, so just paint. And then something else that I use the toothpick for is I wipe off the paint with a paper or towel or something, and if I accidentally go past the lines or whatever, I use the toothpick to scratch off the excess paint. So that is a useful tip. So now that you know all the tools that I basically use, I mean, I use scissors and I use super glue as well, and I use various other brands of paint and possibly other things. Like sometimes I use scratch plastic, but I will speak about that maybe later in another video. Anyways, I'm gonna start painting this guy. I will do the helmet first, and I will cut the video right now, and I will show you how or what I did to the helmet once I'm done with it. So see you in a second. So I just finished painting a little bit of gold on the helmet. As you see, I painted one of the cheeks, and I also painted the top of the mohawk. It's still drying up. So something else that I forgot to mention: when you're using your toothpick, if you're gonna use this, you can also use a needle. Something that I use is either you can use a toothpick to use little paint that gets stored in there, or you can simply go for a little bit right here, and about that much is enough. Like, I don't know if you can see that, but I mean, not too much, not too little. Yeah, I mean, you get the idea. And you basically just go for it right here. And I mean, I'm not doing my best job right here, but you can sort of tell how much paint there is on the toothpick. So I will cut the video and I will keep on painting on him, and I think I'm gonna paint the entire helmet, and then I'm gonna show you the final product. So see you in a bit. So I'm done painting the helmet, and as you can see, I got a little bit carried away with a lot of gold. So I painted both cheeks gold, I painted the mohawk gold, I also painted the entire center of the helmet gold, and I also painted these two sides, the top of the helmet gold. And on the back of the helmet I painted darker blue. It doesn't seem as dark, but pretty much always, if you use sample barrel or any paint, anything, when the paint is fresh, it'll look lighter than it actually is. So when it dries up, it'll be darker, always. Any color, like, well, not any color, I mean black seems darker when it's fresh, but when it dries up, it becomes a little bit lighter. But like for like blue, darker blue, red, green, any of those colors, it'll seem darker when it's dry. So now I'm gonna paint the figure. So I will cut the video again and I will paint this guy up. So I will see you guys in a bit. So I'm done painting the figure. As you see, I painted the entire thing gold. I don't know why I made a little bit of I don't know why I painted some blue back there. It's completely pointless, but regardless, I think this is a great figure. So yeah, I will be painting the other 8 figures that you see here. So I'll be making a couple more videos of Senate Commandos in the future, in the near future, maybe in the next couple of 2 weeks, because I have a lot of figures that I've been working on, and I've been telling myself to make an update video for the last month, and that is just not happening. We could say it's almost like a miracle this video is happening, because I have like 6 more boxes of Senate Commandos that I have to paint for a client. No, just kidding. But I do have 6 more boxes that I'm planning on painting, because the Senate Commando figures are gonna go out of stock very soon, so I thought I would just buy myself more of those. So here's my Mandalorian. As I said before, there's a lot more that I can show you, however not in this video because, well, time, and this is more like a beginner's thing, because this Mandalorian is a completely out of scratch figure, while the Senate Commandos are bought in stores, and basically all you're doing is just adding paint to what's already been done. But anyways, I hope all these instructions and tutorial tips that I showed you on how to make the Senate Commandos help you out with other figures, not just Senate Commandos, like normal clone troopers or store-bought Mandalorians or Jedi or Sith or whatever. Maybe not even Star Wars, maybe superheroes, or maybe Halo, I don't know. Brick Forge sells Halo armor, so you can easily customize those. And I don't know, a lot of people like The Walking Dead. I haven't seen that series though. I've heard it's very interesting. Anyways, I think that is it. So before you go, please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't, and feel free to check out my channel. There's a lot of custom figures there, and I've been working on a lot of custom figures, like I said. These 8 figures, I've been working on a lot of Mandalorians and X-Men Apocalypse. I should be making an update video soon, I hope, but I do not promise anything. So anyways, I think that is it. So yeah, take care guys, and I will see you guys later. Bye.